We were wondering, what exactly are these people trading? So we looked at the data, and actually we were seeing the stocks that show the most interest. RobinTrack, which tracks data from Robinhood, found that over the past month, these are the stocks that were most traded: Sorrento Therapeutics, Aurora Cannabis, Moderna, Delta, General Electric, seeing the biggest increase in users holding those stocks. I mean, Mike, it looks like people are drawn to stocks that swing wildly. Are any of these stocks interesting to you?
Well, interesting on the short side, maybe. I certainly wouldn't be a buyer, I don't think, of any one of these four. I mean, here is the reason why people are trading these things. I mean, I don't know that it's stimulus check related. It's probably related to the fact that people who would normally be preoccupying themselves with commuting to and from the office and worrying about work are instead sitting at home in front of their computers. If they've been thinking about opening up a brokerage account, now is their opportunity to do it. The markets are moving around, which obviously makes it tempting. And I think there's a little bit of video gaming that's going on. So they have the time to open up these accounts. They have the time to sit there and watch the market. The market's moving around. And so they're picking the most volatile stocks. And I can understand that. The thing is about a company like GE is that people have this, this impression that the company's been around for 100 years. And they figure it's going to continue to be around, and this is just a temporary dip, without actually recognizing that some companies could have significant or even permanent impairments. Some of the other companies, like the biotechs that people are trying to play on vaccines, that's also a really speculative game. And there's not any assurance, number one, that they're going to find vaccines in those cases that they're playing those stocks, or number two, that they're actually going to monetize it, really, other than maybe getting a little bit of goodwill out of it. We heard what Biden had to say today, for example, talking about making sure that if there was a vaccine available, that they would make it available free of charge. That suggests there would be pricing pressure. So even if you did identify one, maybe not the best opportunity. I would urge people to stick with the indices on a broad basis if they're just starting out.
We have some breaking news on United Airlines. Let's get to Phil LeBeau for the latest. Phil.
Hey, Melissa, 2 days after United's annual meeting, they have released an 8K with executive compensation. New CEO Scott Kirby is going to be paid a base salary of $1 million. New President Brett Hart will get $775,000 per year. But it's important to note that both of them will be foregoing their salaries for the remainder of this year. That's a commitment they made back when everything started with COVID-19. That continues through the remainder of this year. Also, their bonuses will be contingent upon United employees receiving profit-sharing checks. Clearly, that's not going to happen this year, so they won't receive a bonus until the frontline employees are once again receiving profit-sharing checks. And again, that is, people would be stunned if that happened this year. Melissa, back to you.
Phil, there's been a lot of scrutiny on the airlines, specifically United. I mean, didn't they unveil plans to start laying off employees the first day possible after getting the bailout money? October 1st, I think, is the date.
Well, they've said that they plan with at least 30% of their management and administrative staff that starting October 1st, they would go forward with potentially laying off, furloughing up to 30% of those employees. And then clearly, if traffic and if business does not rebound substantially by the end of September, you're likely going to see cuts in terms of furloughs with pilots, flight attendants, et cetera. Although when we talked to Scott Kirby the other day, Melissa, he said, look, we want to work with the unions. If we can work out a system where they have fewer hours and therefore we can keep people and not have to furlough people, that would be preferable.
All right. Phil, thank you. Phil LeBeau joining us with the latest news on United Airlines. You take government money, BK, and all of a sudden the government will have a say in how you do things. And I think that's what the airlines are coming up against at this point.
Yeah, imagine that, right? Imagine that somebody gives you money and they actually want to tell you what to do. It's shocking. To go back to, in terms of what's going to happen in the fall, there's just so many unknowns. It's kind of like what Warren Buffett said, and probably the reason why he sold the airlines. The number of things that can happen between now and October are so diverse, it's hard to put a probability on them. Are we going to have a second wave? Will people get back on planes? Will airlines survive through this? There's so many different things that can happen. I wouldn't touch the airlines with Pete's money.